Hi, Namaste everyone. Thanks for joining Hindi University. This is Ashutosh. Like every Sunday, we are taking a new topic in today's class, which is something similar to finding a job search or anything. So think about all the phrases, sentences, the entire job search experience, right? Can we, simulate that in, Hindi conversation? And if we do, what kind of sentences will we be using, right? So although the topic of today's conversation is this, feel free to write down on the side, chat box, any questions or comments you may have. What kind of scenarios you can think of, right? What kind of keywords you need to learn, what kind of vocabulary or verbs you need to know for that. So I'll give you some time, to think about it, reflect about it, and tell me the verbs that you need to know, especially when you're like, someone is looking for a job, right, or they're applying for a position somewhere. So let's start with that, and let's start with the another one is the vocabulary, and based on that we can pick up things that we need to cover in today's session. I'll try to limit today's session to about 35-40 minutes, and the remaining class we can kind of discuss or practice Hindi internally within our group. So with that in mind, let's go over the verbs that you think you need to know, or someone needs to know if they're looking for a job. Okay, to search. Okay, skills. Keep them coming. Previous work, or just work in general. Salary, qualification, to apply. Any other work you can think of? Interview. So these are, the common things that you need to know or someone needs to know. There'll be more than that. So what we'll do, I'll try to keep it more structural, and most of these words have very complicated Hindi vocabulary words. Wherever it is easier to learn, I'm going to explain that. Whenever it is too difficult, which is not commonly used, I encourage that we simply use the English equivalent to that, right? So that way, at least you'll not be getting confused with the structure of the sentence, right? So let's start with that, right? So as you mentioned, to search and to apply are the very common, um, when it comes to looking for a job or job hunting. These are the common vocabulary words, right? So let's look at the first sentence. When you say that, hypothetically, let's say I am looking for a job, right? To look or to search is the same thing, right? In this case, so to look, to search. Anyone remembers the word for it in Hindi? Okay, it's ढूंढना, ढूंढ, and then it's one word, but I'm just going to put a space there. ढूंढना, right? I am looking for a job. To look or to search. The verb is ढूंढना. The sentence is present continuous. So imagine, you know, you just have to translate this sentence now in Hindi. How will you do that? What is the correct translation for this one? I'm looking for a job. That's the first basic one. We can make it complicated as we make progress. Let me give you half a minute to see if you can come up with a translation for it. Okay. Anyone else? So the first one is मैं काम ढूंढ रही हूँ, मैं job ढूंढ रही हूँ. Okay. Um, which is correct. Anyone else would like to try? Anyone knows the Hindi like the word for job in Hindi? Yeah, that's right. So the sentence is absolutely correct. The structure that you have, it's like man, and job is either you can say a काम, you know, which you used, or you can say naukri, or you can simply say job. It is too difficult to remember. मैं नौकरी ढूंढ. For a guy, it's raha. For a girl, it's rahi. Hmm. So, if you remember, this is a very basic basic structure in present continuous tense that we use, right? Where you're what you're doing is like in the verb, you're removing now and you're putting raha and rahi based on the gender, right? If it is a male, it's raha. If it is a female, it's rahi, right? Um, Similarly, the same sentence, if you were to ask someone, same thing, right? Are you looking for a job? So this time I'm gonna encourage people who didn't, try last time to go for it. It should be very straightforward. I mean, the whole idea is to give you practice. So let's say if you were to ask someone, are you looking for a job? Let's make it a little bit more interesting. Are you looking for a job in India? Okay. So it's you. So Raha and Rahi is for, for men, based on, whether you have male or a female. For aap, it's Rahe. Okay, so it would be क्या आप भारत में और इंडिया में क्या आप इंडिया में नौकरी ढूंढ रहे हैं? Um, I usually keep it, simple, and I always say rahe, regardless of whether it's a male or a female, because rahe in generically it is giving respect. But if you want to be really specific, you can even say क्या आप इंडिया में नौकरी ढूंढ रही हैं, for female. But this in itself is correct if you don't want to get confused and if you want to keep it simple, right? So that's the second one. I'm looking for a job in India. So I hope this is clear. Um, as we start building up this lecture, you'll start seeing a lot more, you know, like complicated sentences as well. So bear with me. So the first thing is that I want to cover is like after the first structure, what's your in this particular session, I wanted to tell you that it's we may think about several sentences, but pretty much for a job like someone who is asking you questions, it's so straightforward that they have to do is, what's your, let's say, qualification, right? What's your experience? So, what's your experience? What's your salary expectation? What's your goals? What's your leadership style? What are your skills? And tell what's your achievements. The point is that all these things that you can think of that somebody is going to ask. uh, in Hindi they're pretty straightforward, but because all you need to know is this particular structure, what's your, and then after that either you need to know the Hindi words for these vocabulary words, or you can simply use them in the English also if you're finding it very difficult. And now we have Amina also. She just completed her PhD in English, so she can also comment on her experience of English, like Hindi plus English basically, where the words are really difficult and commonly people have started using them on a day-to-day language, right? So I'm going to go over one of that. Like I'm going to go over a few examples using this particular structure. What's your qualification or what's your experience? And then I'm going to open it up with lot more. Like I'm going to give you a lot more keywords like this. But I also expect you to come up with more of these. So that way, towards the end of our class, right, you can share those things. So, keep it in your notebook as you're working on it on the side and tell me what you came up with, anything extra that you came up with. So, let's start with one of the example. Let's start with what's your qualification? Anyone would like to give it an attempt first before I give you the answer? What's your qualification? How will you say this question in Hindi? Don't worry about the answer as of now. As of now, just worry about this particular question. Okay, very good. Mm-hmm. Okay, so qualifications, it's a feminine, right? Feminine keyword, right? So it will be aapki. Remember, for singular and plural in feminine, you still use aapki. For masculine, you use aapke. If it's plural, if it's singular, you use aapka. So in this case, aapki qualifications क्या है? आपकी qualifications क्या है? And that's absolutely correct. Don't worry if you're still using one English keyword in this sentence. Most of the people, if they're speaking Hindi, you'll still see them using qualifications in the sentence. Just to, if you still want to know about it, I can still give you uh, the Hindi word for it, right? So, but as of now, don't worry about it. I think it's still like a proper sentence, and it's basically yogyata. That's the Hindi word for qualifications. So it's year with O, half g, and then again year, t with a. So you can say आपकी योग्यता क्या है? That's qualification, right? Otherwise, you can stick with what's your qualification. Let me give you some more example. Okay. Second one is like, what's your achievements? Either you can say, and again, it's interesting because achievement is masculine, right? So you can say plural in achievements is like आपके achievements क्या है? आपके achievements क्या है? That's for this one. What's your achievements? Okay. Um, if you really want to say the word, achievements in Hindi, it's uplabdhiyan. It's very long one, but uplabdhiyan. It's difficult, but I guess I should not write you. Think of it as like double O, because it's it may give you confusion, and you can say up. So it's up love diya. But I still suggest stick with this one. आपके achievements क्या है, to keep it simple. Okay. Let's do some more, and then I want to give you some more time. And as I'm going over these examples, I want you to think about what else can someone ask you, right? And when the last 20 minutes of this class, we'll keep it for discussion, and I want you to tell me what you came up with, right? Um, what's your interest? Mm, right? So, आपकी either you can say आपके interest क्या है, or you can simply say आपकी रुचि, which is interest, क्या है, आपकी रुचि क्या है, what's your hobby or what's your interest. uh, I'll keep going, uh, which is what's your salary, or what's your salary expectation, right? So salary, the word Hindi word for salary is vetan. The way you write it, like you have a verb with a, the, and you can also use another word called tankha. So it's TAN. I'll keep it simple. Khwa, tankha, right? Tankha, right? So you can say आपकी तनख्वाह क्या है? आपकी तनख्वाह क्या है? What's your salary? Usually you don't ask it, but I just kept it there so that you can learn the word for salary in Hindi, which is वेतन or तनख्वाह. But the other sentence, like if you say what's your salary expectation, I suggest keeping it simple and simply आपकी salary expectations क्या है? The reason being, if you write this, there's one word. If you write it, um, either it gets complicated or the sentence structure changes altogether, which often I've seen that it brings confusion to people, right? So I usually prefer to keeping the structure simple and then changing the the minimal variable you have in the sentence, the better it is for you, and it gives you more confidence, right? And this is pretty much, we can use the same structure for what's your, strengths, right? So आपकी strengths क्या है, right? What's your strengths, right? Or his strength is ताकत. But if you say this in this particular way, आपकी ताकत, it doesn't really make sense. It's basically what's your आपकी ताकत क्या है? It's more about like physical strength. But when you simply say आपकी strength क्या है, uh, in English it's more kind of like more open-ended word, right? I mean, based on the context, it could mean strength, physical strength, emotional strength, job-related strength, or the skill you're talking about, right? In Hindi, takat is commonly referred as like a physical strength. Right? Um, Lastly, what's your weaknesses? So I'm going to tell you like how I came up. So yesterday I was just looking at like what are the commonly asked interview questions, and I created the entire, like, today's lecture around it. Like, how can I keep it very simple, and I can cover all the basic questions that are commonly asked in the interviews, right? So, what's your weaknesses? You can say आपकी weaknesses क्या है, or the word is simple here. It's आपकी कमजोरियां. कमजोरी is singular, कमजोरियां is plural. So it's like same as लड़की and लड़कियां, right? कमजोरी or कमजोरियां. So I think I went a little quicker here. So I'm going to take a quick pause to make sure that you understood the structure here. And if you have any questions, I'm going to take a quick pause to see if you have any questions. Can I say आपकी सैलरी का एक्सपेक्टेशंस क्या है? You can say आपकी सैलरीज की एक्सपेक्टेशंस क्या है? Expectations again is like a salary की expectations. Okay, very good. आपकी availability क्या है? Very good. So that's a grammatically correct. आपकी availability क्या है? Any other questions? आपकी qualifications क्या है? Okay. Anyone, Yon or anyone else? Is it making sense or is it too complicated? Okay. Think about it like, it doesn't necessarily have to be your. I usually, use the same kind of pronoun, but now we've gone through it. You can change the entire sentences into, instead of your, you can be, you know, their, his, her, or, someone's name, John's. What's John's availability? What's his weaknesses? What's his strength? So it's pretty much like you can do, if you even you can use it if you're doing the performance review of someone as well, right? Structure remains the same, but you can still make many more combinations out of it. Let's move on. We just have 16 more minutes before I open it up for discussion. But keep thinking of more similar phrases like what's your availability. So that way we'll see if we can interview each other in this particular class, right? So either we can make a group or we'll see how we can moderate the discussion. Let's see. The third one I have, which is basically, where are you? So I'm going to do a very simple, many sentences now. Where are you? Where are you looking for a job? Let me know if you can think of. Let me see if I can. You can attempt it. Try to see if you can write this question in Hindi. Okay, आप नौकरी कहाँ कहाँ पे और कहाँ पे ढूंढ रहे हैं? Right? Now, the answer could be, let's see what you guys think of. Like, let's say if I were to ask you this question, आप नौकरी कहाँ पे ढूंढ रहे हैं? There will be one post position for sure. Before that, it could be, the name of the country or the website where you're looking for, right? Let's see what you guys can think of. By the way, the post position in this particular thing, the question is optional. You don't have to have pay here. Even if you say, आप नौकरी कहाँ ढूंढ रहे हैं, that's still grammatically correct. Answers could be that, US में, in US, or in UK में, you can also say LinkedIn पे, on LinkedIn. Anything else that you can think of where the question is still the same, but in this case it means that you're looking for jobs within US, on LinkedIn basically, right? So let's see if you guys have any more questions here. Or it could be city specific as well, like if you are already in the US, you can say, मैं न्यूयॉर्क में नौकरी ढूंढ रहा हूँ, और मैं न्यूयॉर्क में नौकरी ढूंढ रही हूँ, like a platform. Yeah, this one is like a platform, this one is city, this is the country. All of them are correct. Okay, we'll move to the next one, which is, now that we've learned how to ask questions around it, we'll build up responses as well. And I want you to, as I'm writing the script, I want you to, follow along, and I want you to prepare similar script like this. So remember, the question was, what's your qualifications, or what's your skills? Answer is आपकी skills क्या है? And I want you to learn, the responses along with the question, right? The responses could be, and I'm gonna just follow one method, and you can, keep changing based on, what your interest or what you can think of. Simple would be, मुझे writing आती है, and you're talking about a particular type style of writing, scientific writing or creative writing, right? And the verb here is, uh, I'm using the word called ana. Ana is often used as to come, right? But in this case, you're using it as to know, which is also means janna, right? They can say मैं writing जानती हूँ, which is correct, that I know writing. That's, so let me write down the other way of saying the same thing. So it will be मैं, basic structure is मैं जानती हूँ और मैं जानता हूँ. But what you are saying here is like मैं writing और मैं programming और मैं accounting जानती हूँ. I know accounting, or I know writing, or I know editing. The other way would be मुझे writing आती है. I know writing. In this class, I wanted to, because we've done this thing several times, I wanted to focus on this one, like which pretty much means मैं plus को, the postposition को, like to me. To me, writing is known. Like मुझको writing आती है. And if you want to say to him, he knows writing, it would be उसको writing आती है, right? और वह writing जानता है. Right? So I'll keep going. You are free to use either of them, either the first way or the second way, whichever is convenient to you. So the first one is मुझे writing आती है. मुझे प्रोग्रामिंग मुझे प्रोग्रामिंग आती है, और मुझे So the more this like मुझे अकाउंटिंग आती है और मुझे और you can say मुझे पेंटिंग आती है. Give me 1 minute. So basically, by now you must have figured it out, right? I mean, only thing which you're changing here is the skill, right? So prepare a script along with me as I'm writing it, so that way that can be used toward the end of the class, right? You can change it. You can change the pronoun also. Um, let's do some more. Okay, so this is pretty much about skills, right? Next thing that they can ask you is, tell me, similar question that can be asked in a different way. Tell me little bit about yourself, right? Tell me a little bit about yourself, and it would be आपके um, about is आपके बारे में आपके बारे में कुछ बताइए. To tell is batana, but because it's like assuming that the question is asked in a polite manner, it's like आपके बारे में कुछ बताइए. Tell me a little bit about yourself, right? Now the same thing, like you can pretty much what we just did, like मैं writing जानती हूँ, मैं editing जानती हूँ. It could be a response to this question as well. So let me just see. There were a few questions that I missed here answering. So okay, so the question is मुझे airport okay. Okay, so first thing is like मैं let me take some questions. The question was like, I know airport security. So I think the airport security is probably a place that you may you're trying to say that I work there. If there's a particular skills, you can say मैं security जानती हूँ. I know security, right? But if you are trying to say I work at airport security, you will say मैं airport security में काम करती मैं एयरपोर्ट सिक्योरिटी में काम करती हूँ. I work at airport security. If you're simply trying to say that, right? Let me look at the other questions that came. Okay. The question is like a little bit more about the verb here, right? To know. To know is janana. So it's ja with a and then na and then na again. Janana. Janna, right? Uh, so basically, it could either you can use the other one or you can use this one, right? Uh, Simple sentence would be आपको मैं आपको जानता हूँ. Like I know you. मैं आपको जानता हूँ. I know you. और मैं उसको जानता हूँ, आई नो हिम, राइट। और मैं प्रोग्रामिंग जानता हूँ, आई नो प्रोग्रामिंग। और मैं टीचिंग जानता हूँ, आई नो टीचिंग, राइट। और मैं फिल्म मेकिंग जानती हूँ, फॉर फिल्म मेकिंग और मूवी मेकिंग। लेट मी सी इफ दैट वाज क्लियर। नो, मुझे जानती है would be, I don't think it's correct. You will be, because you know, um, you're mixing both like there are two type of things, right? मैं आपको, um, let me write both of them again so that way the distinction is clear, right? So one way would be मैं uh, जर्नलिज्म मैं जर्नलिज्म जानती हूँ, राइट। मैं जर्नलिज्म जानती हूँ, आई नो जर्नलिज्म। सेकंड वन इज मुझे जर्नलिज्म आता है, that I can perform at this level. Well, in this particular example, this one clearly comes across as like you have experience and you know about it, and this one is you kind of understand it, right? Um, Both of them are similar, like grammatically or semantically as well. But in this particular example, when I say when I write it like this, like मैं programming जानती हूँ versus मुझे programming आती है, um, this one is kind of giving more like emphasis or strength to your skills. This one is like you simply understand it. It doesn't convey how much. They can further ask you, but this one definitely, like it kind of shows your command that I know this thing. Right? Let me see if this is still not clear. Yes, I saw used. I hope this is clear, right? I mean, when to use what. Okay. So the time is 10:39. I'm just going to take 10 more, like few more seconds and before I wrap up. But I want to keep something for the class, for the discussion. So let me quickly write down what I have prepared, and then we can you know carry on with the discussion. So the next thing is like if like you want to know in which domain are you looking for a job, in which domain, or in which field. So you can tell that I'm trying to teach here the post position. So first thing is like आप नौकरी ढूंढ रहे हैं. The question could be किस फील्ड में और किस डोमेन में, राइट, और किस एरिया में, anything, right? And the answer could be accounting में, finance में, बॉलीवुड में, हॉलीवुड में, सिक्योरिटी में, right? I mean software security में, or startup में, anything that you can use, right? um, World Bank में, common examples, World Bank में. I mean, I live in DC, so pretty much every other person, if you ask them, will State Department में, State Department में, or Capitol Hills में, right? So you can use to kind of like you can use the post position, and along with that, either you can choose your field, or you choose the place, field as well as place, to kind of convey this sentence. All right, or you can also say NGO में, if you are looking for a job in an NGO or a non-profit, you can say मैं NGO में, और मैं इंडिया में एक एनजीओ में नौकरी ढूंढ रहा हूँ, right? Those can be used as well, right? Um, Lastly, if you remember, I put together आपके बारे में कुछ बताइए. Tell us a little bit about yourself, right? Um, I think I'm going to use that example, for our discussion, and that's like a good segue also, right? So tell me a little bit. Like, how are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself. So it's basically आपके बारे में कुछ बताइए. So this is the topic for our today's group discussion that we'll be having. If you feel it difficult, to talk about yourself, आपके बारे में, you can just make a fictional character called John. John के बारे में कुछ बताइए. And you can just, so in this, if you choose to do this thing, or मैंने के बारे में कुछ बताइए, you can just make anything up, right? You can make them like they may be working at some place. You can use those kind of examples, or anything that you can talk about their skills, whether they're doing good job, or you can talk about their strengths, their weaknesses, in which field they're looking for a job. Anything is fair here, right? And I'll make sure that you're grammatically correct, and everybody's uh, is able to get you. So let's see. If you divide by, if you make a group, so let's do this thing. Chelsea and uh, Janet and Khali can be in one group, and the other group is Yon and me. We are on the other side, right? Um, so I'm gonna stop broadcasting. So folks who are watching online, next week is a short week, so we won't have any class. But following week, I'm gonna let you know. I'm going for a trip, so I don't know whether I'll be back or not. But next week definitely we won't have a class. Following week I'll confirm it. Okay. So we'll see you soon. I'll stop broadcasting and